Well, welcome everyone to the session. My name is Matt. For those who don't know me, I am the director and lead speaker at Ignite Momentum. I basically help organizations and people develop leadership skills, improve resilience, and manage workload. As those who have been here for many, many times before in these workshops, they know I'm a very passionate presenter. I love what I do. So I will bring as much of that energy to every session as I possibly can. Now, today, before I get started, I want to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land that I'm presenting from, of course, being the southeastern suburbs of Melbourne. It is the Wurundjeri people of the Eastern Kulin Nation, and I extend that respect out to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples that may be here and present today. Now, for today, we are going through one of my favorite sessions. I've got a lot of favorite sessions, but in particular, I really love this one. It is all about the art of presenting with influence. Now, I've been presenting for a really long time, near a decade, so I'm going to bring a lot of the expertise and skills that I have, but this is going to be all about the top 3 things that really separate a presenter from the top 1% presenters out there. Now, for this, I will ask a couple of questions throughout the session. I'd love your involvement, but because of the 30-minute time cap, I'd love to keep the chat open as opposed to coming off mute today. So any involvement, pop it in the chat. Now, a couple quick things before we do. There's a few things coming up for Ignite Momentum I'm very excited for that most of you would have heard of now. I'm actually running some public workshops for the remainder of the year, starting off with mental health first aid. That's accessible to anybody who's not in corporate anywhere around Australia. And I'm also going to be running my flagship Wellbeing Legend session as well. If you want more info on those, feel free to reach out. Happy to have a chat after this. And of course, the free workshops, we've got a couple coming up. We're going to talk about building habits that last, leading teams through change, and stress management masterclass. So as always, feel free to invite as many people as you like to the Momentum series. These are free. They're available to anyone. The more, the merrier. Now, I have a question for you, and I did say I would open up the chat first up. I want you to think about the best presentation that you've attended. What made this presenter or presentation really engaging or impactful? Pop your answers in the chat. The energy, love that. Passion, interactive, heartfelt, authentic, not just reading from slides. I'm a big fan of that. Absolutely don't just read from the slides. Feeling the passion, yes. Hear the passion about the topic. I'm hearing a lot of passion is coming through, which is cool. Cool. These are all absolutely 100% correct, team. And I really want you to continue to think about this. Feel free to add more authenticity. Sam, absolutely. The more authentic you are, the more I think connected you can be with your audience. Humor, I do love a couple of jokes in there, James. And I know you're a big fan of some dad jokes. I wish I actually prepared some. I would have brought some in today if I know that you were coming, but I'll make sure I have them in the next presentation. So Ted, this is really important reflection when it comes to anything that we do, building strong self-awareness around ourselves and also what makes a good presentation in this case can really help us harness and develop these skills. Now, for me, over years of reflection, I've come up with 3 big things that actually make a really big impact in any sort of presentation, whether that be a sales pitch, a workshop, a facilitation at a team event, or even just a team meeting. And we're going to cover each of these 3, and I'm going to give you a couple of tips as we go. We're going to start off with knowing your audience. Now, quick question, raise your hand with the raise hand emoji if you've ever jumped into a presentation and you were immediately disengaged because they started with something irrelevant, spent a long time trying to build rapport when you were really flat out and just wanted to get to the facts, or they just jumped into the facts, tried to sell you something when you didn't even know the person. Raise your hand if you've had that kind of experience. Yeah, couple thumbs up, couple raised hands. I'm not surprised. This is a big challenge when it comes to presentations, and it is incredibly frustrating. This is another critical part or a crucial part to an amazing presentation that people miss way too often. And it's just knowing who you are speaking to. For example, a CEO does not have time for fluff. They want you to get in, give them the facts, and get out. So a key component to any presentation before you even create it is to take time to consider who you are presenting to. So I have 3 questions that help me sort of dial in when it comes to building a presentation or a workshop. The first one is, who is my audience? Are they executives? Are they retail teams? Are they management? Understanding their level of seniority and the type of role they are in is going to really help me adapt the training or the workshop to them. The next is, how might they like to receive the information? Some people like data and stats. Others like rapport and conversational authenticity. Some others like storytelling. We want to take time to consider this and adapt our presentation to this particular audience. And the last one, what matters to them most? And more importantly, how can I link that into my presentation? For example, a CEO might be all about cost cutting. So I want to spend time actually acknowledging that and how the impact of my particular project in this instance might save them money. So for example, in a presentation to a CEO, I would start with the outcome they're looking for, cost saving for the business, then weave in how my project will actually support them saving money and the goal and strong supporting data that would help me put this point across. Then finish with the investment, not a cost. Really important we call it an investment, not a cost. People have a negative association with the word cost quite often. There's a bit of psychology behind it. So that first piece of the puzzle, team, is really know who your audience is. Take time to reflect on this. This sets apart a good presentation from an excellent one. Expanding further to the point, it's the final, or well, one of the final of the 3 steps, I should say, is really understanding the why. We need to get clear on the purpose, the outcomes, the reason we are doing this presentation in the first place. This is really critical to nailing it and closing the deal, getting buy-in, or just delivering an amazing workshop. So some key considerations that I use when building a tailored workshop that have served me well for years is, what's the actual point or the purpose of this presentation? So for example, imagine if you were struggling with workload and wanted strategies to manage this. I then came in and I ran a workshop on exercise and sleep and prioritizing mindfulness. Question in the chat, team. How would you feel if I did that? I am pausing for answers in the chat, by the way. Confused. Thank you, Claire. I'm sure a lot of people would be confused. Yeah, Justine, not heard. Absolutely. And keep typing those answers, team. Bonus question. Do you feel like I would have addressed the actual true problem that you had? What do you reckon? Yeah, questioning the understanding of the team. Yeah. And I'm sure straight up people are thinking, no, I would not have addressed the true problem because I haven't really thought about what the actual point of the presentation is. And again, knowing my audience, right? So it's really important you take time to consider, what problem are you actually solving? What's the point of this purpose or the point or purpose of this presentation? The next step is to think about what the outcome is that you're looking for. If we're not clear on this up front, people are going to feel lost and not have a clear call to action that actually gets the outcome you're looking for. For example, this presentation right here, I mentioned right at the start that I'm going to be sharing you tips that can improve your presentation skills. This gives you clarity that, okay, today is about learning skills or building strategies into my presentations to actually enhance the way that I present. This problem essentially I'm looking at solving is providing you strategies that can improve your skills here. Whereas if I was to go into the productivity session, for example, and not give them a clear outcome in terms of, here are some strategies that are going to help you manage your workload and reduce your stress at the start, again, as to the point, they're probably going to question the understanding of the team and whether or not I'm actually there and understand their problem. And the last part is, use this at the start of your presentation. Every single time, start with the problem and the purpose of the presentation. For example, if I was to introduce a different presentation, the workload one. Hi team, I'm conscious that all of you are struggling with workload right now. Considering the pre-workshop survey, I always send a pre-workshop survey out, this was predominantly inbox volume that I identified as the problem. So today's tailored workshop will be all about managing your inbox. You're going to learn effective strategies that my clients have used to achieve inbox zero. You'll learn how to implement them live during the session, and I'll allocate you time to do this. This is going to allow people real clarity in terms of what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the outcome. And thank you very much, Sam. You're absolutely right. You'll lose engagement straight away if you don't do this. You'll lose trust straight away if you don't do this from your audience. And that is just critical when it comes to delivering a good quality presentation. You need your audience on side from the start. This is really, really important. Do not miss this step. Now let's get to the actual in the presentation stage. When it comes to presenting with true influence, we really need to consider that it isn't just about the data and the information. Whilst it is a key component to supporting a presentation, we do need to remember that it's not all about the data. Oftentimes, great presentations, particularly training, facilitation, and sales, they fall down because they overlook the non-verbal side of communication. So, question here, team. What do you think, or why do you think non-verbal communication is so important as a presenter? Pop some answers in the chat. Why do you think it's so important? Non-verbal communication. Why is it so important as a presenter? Yeah, people learn differently. Definitely. Absolutely, Justin. I might expand on that briefly too. That's an important point to consider when building your presentation, particularly if people are neurodiverse or if there's other different ways that they learn. We may need to consider that when building our presentation, particularly if we're talking about training and facilitation. We may need to include some descriptions and information on a slide versus just images. Again, it just depends on the audience. Yeah, Kerry, you're spot on. It allows you to read the cues from the audience and actually adapt and actually non-verbally communicate and connect with them. Absolutely, that keeps them engaged. What else we got? Allows perception, thinking time. Yes, absolutely, team. These are all correct, right? Our non-verbal cues are so important for our communication. There's actually a study out there, given this is not a significant study, I think it's 178 people with a sample size, but essentially the outcome was tone and body language is 93% of communication. So we're actually not doing a lot of the talking with our words. It's more about what our body and our face is saying. Now, I would say this sample size is pretty small, but it illustrates the point. It is quite significant that tone and body language has an impact on our conversations. So, for example, it's going to help you connect with the group much more quickly, both emotionally with the content, if you're selling or facilitating, and also just connect and build rapport with you. Crucially, it's going to show confidence and authority. It's going to help you both manage the room, build credibility and trust, and position you as an expert, which is crucial when it comes to influencing a room. It's going to help you emphasize key points or moments, and it's going to make your presentation so much more engaging and enjoyable, which is going to result in so many more people listening, which is the goal. And it's also going to support memory retention. I'm sure you can think of presentations that stood out versus those that didn't. Often this is why. It's the non-verbal communication. So, a couple of things that I use in every single presentation. Eye contact. This is going to help people feel that you are actually invested in them. Make sure you make eye contact. If you've got 100 people in the room, it's a little different, but try and look through the room and sort of pick a few people here and there and move through. This is going to help people feel that you genuinely are invested in them. You are connected with them. And you're present in the room. Pause for effect. This doesn't just help teams and people remember information and key points. This actually gives you a break and it helps you emphasize the points as well. Pausing for effect is much more powerful than you think. And as a presenter, we have to be comfortable in the silence more than anything else. Open body language. Now, this makes you more approachable, it makes you more warm, and it leads to more engagement as well. Now, open body language and eye contact too will help with the rest of your body language and communication cues that follow. Vary your volume and your cadence. This makes the presentation more interesting and it's going to allow you to emphasize these key points, highlight and draw in engagement when people are losing interest. Now, this just means simply speaking louder or speaking softer and slower. When we put all of these together, this makes a presentation significantly more engaging. Quick question for the chat team. Has anybody used any of these? How have you found them for you? Have to get some like elevator music in the background or something as I ask for the chat. Get some background tunes going on. That's a good tip, actually, Sam. Putting it in the speaking notes is a good one to remember too. Yeah, I love it. Claire pausing for effect. Amazing. You're too right. You do get really insightful engagement if you do pause, because a lot of the time that gives people time to digest and then they get involved afterwards too. Humor's a good one, Kerry. Yes, a good joke in there is always a win. Yeah, Sam. Pausing helps you settle your nerves as well. When we're doing a presentation, it's not, we may get nervous too, and that is normal. I actually have a bonus tip in here that might help you with that. So now saying it so it lands, this is really important, of course, with our nonverbal cues in the room. But how do we do it in a hybrid environment? How do we do it virtually? I think this is really important. Here's a couple of like secret tricks, tools of the trade, so to speak, that I've found really helpful for me. So building on this, secret one, when you are presenting in person, hand gestures are super important for engagement and emphasis. Like I mentioned before with body language, right? We're moving our hands, we're getting involved. Now, you also wouldn't stand right in front of someone when presenting in real life, right? Now, if you look at me right now, obviously I'm standing back, I've got my hands open, but oftentimes people are usually presenting right up the front like this, and they're talking really close to the camera. This is a bit of a personal space situation, and quite oftentimes this can actually impact the rapport or the comfort of people in the presentation. So I always recommend people to step back and actually frame up the upper body. That allows you to use your hand gestures, allows you to create open body language, and allows you to make eye contact. And for people, they actually generally will feel more comfortable much quicker with a presenter doing this versus up front. So when you jump online, check your camera first and step back so it frames you from the belly button up. Presenting like this is going to help people feel much more comfortable. Now, years back during COVID, secret number 2, a close friend and mentor of mine actually was talking to me about the shift from presenting in person to online. He mentioned that it always felt like people weren't looking at him when he was presenting. And when he reflected, he realized he would look the same as the presenter. People actually feel more connected, as we said before, when you make eye contact with them. And the equivalent of eye contact online is to look at the camera, not the person on the screen. This is something that we need practice at quite often because it's so easy to look at the person on the screen thinking I'm actually talking to them. But when we're actually doing the presentation, from their perspective, we're actually looking down. We're not necessarily looking at them. And that can actually help people feel disconnected instead of reconnected. He actually told me that throughout COVID, he has a little sticker. I think he still has it today, to be honest with you. And in capital letters, he wrote, "Look here," and he stuck it just under the webcam. That is a really critical piece when it comes to online presenting, team. Secret number 3 is present standing up. Probably no secret. This actually shifts your state, your energy, how you present, how you feel. A lot of people mentioned at the start, the energy and the passion of a presenter makes a big difference for its engagement. Standing up can actually help us be in the best possible state. It gets blood flowing and it allows us to be more active and agile throughout our presentation. This will genuinely help you present better with more open body language and connect more with your audience much quicker, especially virtually. Step 4 and secret 4, manage the expectations of communication. Too many times I've been in a presentation where people don't say upfront how we are going to be communicating for the session today. There's nothing worse as a participant than not knowing how to engage with your presenter and then feeling bad when you interrupt your presenter. This can interrupt the flow, impact other people in the presentation, the audience too, and make sure that they feel less connected to you. So up front, right at the start, just like I did today, make sure that you tell people how to engage with you throughout your presentation. Whether that's chat, off mute, anything like that. Does anybody have any other tips for online presentations? I'm always really keen to hear from the crowd on this one because this is a bit of a niche situation. Pop in the chat, team. Any other tips for really engaging online presentations? See people typing away, so I'm excited. There's going to be some good stuff. I love this. I always find that I learn a few things too, because you never know. Some people are very, very good at presenting very much better than I am oftentimes. I'm not the expert, just like everybody. Everybody's always got something to learn, right? Don't have too many words on the slide. Yes. You're asking people to multitask if you have too many words on the slide, and you'll actually lose engagement. It's a good call out, Claire. Don't let the chat or activity go on for too long, Sam. You're absolutely right. 15 minutes of sitting there waiting. Oh my God. I would have been so uncomfortable. No, absolutely. There's kind of a golden rule. I'd probably leave it for 60 seconds to 2 minutes at the start, just for engagement. And then you're right, a couple minutes max. Yeah, tell people if it's going to be recorded, tell people it's going to be shared. Yep, big call out. Again, managing those expectations up front. You're right, Sam. Talk through the agenda before you show it on the screen. Makes it look like you know what you're doing. You're spot on, Sam. We want to be the expert in the room, right? You're not wrong there. Maintain control. Yeah, Justine, that's a really good point too. As a presenter, you are in the room. You are the one in charge of the room. You have the responsibility to manage the people within the room and a responsibility to ensure the people in the room are learning to the best of their abilities or participating to the best of their abilities. So they rely on you to then manage anything that may be dragging the presentation out or may not necessarily allow everybody to get involved in certain ways. So we really have to be conscious of that. It's a great call out. Use the chat to gain feedback responses. Yeah, I love it. Easy slides. That's the way to go. Good stuff. Thank you, Glenn. These are all excellent tips, team. And I always ask purely because you never know. Someone may have an amazing tip that just blows your mind. So I wonder whether or not one of these might be something that you could use in the next presentation. Now, I always like to have a little bonus tip in this one because there's so many things in my head when I'm building presentations like this that just come to me and I think, oh, I've got to give them this tip, I've got to give them that tip and this strategy. It can be hard to harness the tight, okay, what are the right ones? What are the best ones of all of them? And this particular one, I think, is a very, very important facilitators, presenters tip before you do anything. This is a bit of a prep one. Take time for calm and giving yourself an opportunity to get in the zone. Before you get up and deliver, it is crucial that you take control of your state, how you're feeling, your presence, your energy. This sets you up for success to deliver the most amazing presentation you can. It helps you come in with a clear mind and a state that will actually allow you to influence people, to bring a strong presence of confidence in the room. Athletes use this kind of technique to prepare themselves for the big event right before they hit the stage every single time. You've probably seen it when you see sprinters or runners. They're either talking to themselves, maybe they're jumping up and down and geeing themselves up, could be music, whatever it is. To effectively do this, we need to use one of three things: either movement, music, or laughter. These are the three things that can change our state at any given moment. We can use these and we want to anchor that state in. So for me, I've got a playlist and it depends on the type of presentation I'm doing and the people I'm delivering it to. I have different ones and one of them energizes me. One of them slows me down so that I can be more conversational and personable. It just really depends on the audience. I also take a moment before I present to do an activity called box breathing. So a few of you might have heard of that, but a fun fact with that, it only takes 60 seconds to activate your parasympathetic nervous system. This slows your heart rate down, clears the butterflies in your stomach, and it activates the rational thinking brain. It puts us back in the front brain, which allows us to be present, think on our feet, and actually deliver effectively. This can help us bring our A game when it comes to being a top presenter. So team, pop in the chat. what is something that you could do, an activity that you could do that would get you in the zone for a presentation or a workshop or a team meeting? Deep breathing, box breathing. Yeah. Shake the arms and stretch. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one, Justine. Combination of the movement there. Big fan. Go for a walk. Yes. Step out of the environment. Slow yourself down. It's a really good one, Kerry. Love it. Good stuff. Music for sure. Yes. Give yourself time to settle and prep. Love it. Love it. Keep adding them to the chat team. These are all excellent tips. And I really encourage you, if you don't have something that gets you in the zone, please make that one of your missions today. Now, we have gone through a lot of strategies, right, in 29 minutes. So I want to invite you to choose just 3 today. 3 of the strategies we've gone through that can help you enhance your presentations next time you do them. I'm going to give you a second just to read through. And in the chat, I'm going to put a link to a form. This is going to allow you to capture those 3 actions. I will also put a QR code on the screen in a second for those who prefer that. But I want you to take a minute, capture those 3 actions down. What are the 3 things you're going to do next time you present? And let me know what you thought of the session today. Your feedback genuinely means a lot to me, and it makes a big difference in how I deliver in the future sessions, because I take on that feedback, I read through it all, and I adapt my presentations to fit. So I'll give you a minute or so, click on that, scan the QR code, whatever you like. I would love your feedback, please, team. To that, feel free to add them in the chat if you like. I'm conscious of giving you too many things to do at the same time as fill out a survey and put it in the chat. I'd prefer you do the survey because when we write things down, we generally do them and we commit. Now, whilst you do that, team, as always, you know me, I am very passionate about what I do. If you'd like me to come out to your workplace, have a chat with you, or just show you some other things that I might be able to help with, or you just want to get in touch and connect, love to chat. Feel free to scan the QR code, connect with me on LinkedIn, shoot me an email, or message me here. Other than that, team, that is our Art of Presenting with Influence workshop today. I will see you next month for a workshop all about building habits that last to sustain strong resilience. Thank you so, so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I'll chat to you soon.
Thanks, Matt.